two things I despise is greed and egos. There's no place in my business that have either. It's all about there's no islands. We all care about one another. We care about the other's family. We want them to meet their dreams because we're on this earth for a short period of time. But we have work to do and we want to make our customers successful. We want to make them money. In turn, we'll make money.
Hi, this is Benoy Thanjan, your host of the Solar Maverick Podcast. Today, I'm excited to welcome Bill Taylor. He's the CEO owner of DCE Solar. Bill founded the company 17 years ago, became one of the original Solar Mavericks. DCE Solar has grown from a solar racking company into a group of businesses providing racking systems, construction services, engineering and design, carports, ground mounts, rooftop systems, and single-axis trackers for solar projects across the United States. Bill has successfully navigated the solar coaster by remaining disciplined, protecting the company's culture, developing long-term customer relationships, and focusing on quality rather than simply competing on the lowest price. In this episode, we'll discuss Bill's entrepreneurial journey, how DCE Solar expanded across the solar project lifecycle, the importance of designing and building systems that will perform for 30 years or more, and why AI and data center growth are making access to reliable power more important than ever. Let's get into it. Hi, this is Benoy, your host of the Solar Maverick Podcast. I'm really excited to have Bill Taylor. He's the CEO and owner of DCE Solar. He's actually now had his own business when he started DCE. It's been 17 years, so you're the original Solar Maverick, Bill. Thank you for making time today. I really appreciate it, and I'm really excited to hear about what the exciting things that DCE is doing. Your entrepreneurship story. The Solar Maverick Podcast is about solar entrepreneurship. Thank you for making the time today, Bill.
It is my pleasure to be here with you and your audience.
Thank you. It would be great maybe if you could start out with telling us about DCE Solar, also like what led you to start it and maybe your background before that.
Yeah, sure. I'll start with my background. I have an engineering background. I'm more of an entrepreneur. So I always looking for problems and try to have solutions. And that's kind of what led me to solar. I had other businesses in 2008, all in residential real estate. We had a warranty company, an inspection company, a brokerage firm, and then we had the housing crisis. But fortunately, during that time, I was looking for what other problems are in the world that I can solve or be a part of. And I saw the growth in Europe. I was watching Spain, Germany, Italy, expanding in solar. And I said, well, I think this is going to be a winner because I saw that we're going to need power. I didn't know there was going to be AI and data centers and all that back then, but I knew we were going to be a large consumer of power, especially with trying to be an industrial nation, build more plants and manufacturing. So that's what led me to solar. And with my engineering background, I know how to make products. I came from a robotics, automation industry, and felt, okay, where can I be part of solar? And I got into the structures. So DCE Solar started 17 years ago. We design and provide flat rooftop, ground mount, trackers, carports for the industry. So the idea was to, have a one-stop shop for everybody, because I saw at the time in 2009 was if somebody wanted a rooftop, they'd go to one supplier. If they wanted a ground mount, they'd go to another supplier. And we would look at, hey, what's easier for the customer, the EPC or the IPP? Let them go to one stop. So we had the rooftop and ground mount. 2019, brought on a carport because I saw the demand for carports. And last year, about a year and a half ago, I brought on a partner, a single axis tracker from Spain. It's called Axial structures. They'd never had a footprint here in the United States. but they were global. They have trackers all over the world, yet not here. So we are their sales channel to the U.S. And we've deployed several projects already. So we're excited about that relationship.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great introduction. I really appreciate it, Bill. And then it's interesting as well, like outside of DC Solar, you started an EPC arm, an engineering arm as well, or I guess they're separate entities. Can you talk about what led you to do that as well?
Yeah, so like as I mentioned, I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and I also like to solve problems. So uh, I saw projects just weren't being built correctly. So we'd sell our product, or I'd visit another solar farm, and the craftsmanship wasn't there. The project was late. Someone's picking up the cost of that, missing schedules. I said, we could do this. This is bring the same methodology of doing the right thing for the customer, carry that over into installation, and just do the right thing, be honest, and we will be successful. And that turned out well. So I started DCE Services in 2019. We're basically not an EPC. We're the construction arm for many EPCs who doesn't do the C part. So we execute for them. And the unique part of that was we not only build our own systems, we've built everybody else's structures as well. At that point, we just have a common client. They might already have a relationship with our competitor on the racking side. That's fine. We respect that and we just construct it for them. So we'll do civil, mechanical, electrical services. We have our own construction management crews, PMs on site managing the execution. And then about a year and a half ago, I started DCE Design because here we are building systems. We're working from prints, and we saw, hey, we could design these better to save the customer money. There are ways to design the systems to be more effective, more efficient. So we also saw that we learned actually that they're paying too much for these plant sets, and the timing was too long to receive them. So again, saw a problem. I said we could do it better, and that's been successful as well.
Yeah, that is really great. And that's great to hear how you're pretty much involved in the whole like project construction cycle. Can you talk about like how that ensures like the quality of the project, meaning the basically the production and the performance and the quality of the system? Because obviously there's been a lot of solar systems that have been underperforming or poor racking solutions that have
Correct.
been installed. Can you talk more to that, Bill, as well?
Sure, you're taking care of the whole ecosystem from the very beginning, right? So from the design part, we build it as if this was our project. How would we want this to be built? Because it has to be there for 35 years, producing optimal power. So you put all the effort in the beginning because you don't want to do it later on, trying to make up for mistakes in the beginning. So you design it from the very beginning. And like I said, we have the electrical, mechanical, we build it, we have the structure. So when we hand over the keys to the client, they have a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, definitely. That's key. And I think, it's important too. Like sometimes you have EPCs that are just focusing on the lowest cost racking solution, right? But it's not just about the lowest price. It's about the quality of the system and whether it's, as you mentioned, gonna last the 25 years. Can you like
Exactly.
talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me digress. When I started the company, what's a company look like is one that I would want to work for. They care about me. They give me opportunity to grow. And the other side of that was a company that I would want to buy from. So I would want to create the best in class products, but also be able to execute effectively for the customer. So based on that, we design our structures that way. We've lost jobs over pennies, but we're all consumers. You get what you pay for. You're not. There's no way to shortcut the structure without shortcutting the structure, shortcutting the price versus without hindering the structural design. So we will never jeopardize that. So we have the best in class products. There are comparable products. There are also products that shouldn't be out in the market, but there are. But we're always the best in class as far as our designs and our execution.
Yeah, that's great. And it was interesting as well to hear like how the company has grown. Like you're basically building, right, or providing your products in pretty much all of the US where there's an opportunity with solar. It sounds like your clients have expanded their business in different states and you've moved with them as well. Can you talk about like the reach of your products? And obviously
Sure,
you now large utility scales. You talked about the tracking and the partnership with Axial and then the related work
sure.
too.
Yeah, so we started. The company's based in North Carolina, just north of Charlotte, and we provided racking for a lot of projects in the Duke territory, and then we just followed wherever solar went. There was Pennsylvania, New Jersey, upstate New York, and now Illinois, Texas, California. We everywhere there's solar, we have products, and that's also on the build side, the construction side. We're nimble enough to be able to facilitate wherever the customer needs us. We're there. So we have a strong dialogue with our customers, telling us, "Hey, where do you want to be in 6, 9 months?" I remember having those conversations like 2 years ago with customers. They say, "Hey, Illinois is going to be hot." I said, "I'll have a flag there. I'll be ready for you." So we're building in Illinois. And so having those upfront conversations with the customer to prepare us, because I never want to let them down, never want to mislead them, but I want to help facilitate for them. So just tell us where you need to be, where you're expecting, and I'll be able to facilitate for you.
Yeah, definitely. And this that also is a unique point as well. Like how do you make sure that you have the labor for those different markets? And I know that's something that's could be challenging if you don't have the proper like lead times related to these.
100%. It's all about having those conversations. So once we know, yes, we plan on building, 150 megawatts or 200 megawatts in Illinois. What kind of time schedule? We start planning. We're planning ahead of time. So we're there 9 months, 12 months, wherever they need us to be. We're there. It's not, hey, I need you in a random state. We might have to say, I can't facilitate. But next time, let me know in advance, and I could be more ready for you.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate that explaining. Obviously, like there's been so much construction that's been happening because of the passage of the big beautiful bill. Everyone wants to get the 30% ITC and they're safe harboring equipment, specifically panels, and obviously their deadlines related to this year. Like, how has it been as far as like sourcing equipment, sourcing labor? Has it been challenging just because there's a lot of building that's happening right now, or is that been an issue or not?
It is for some, not for us, because again, we're very aligned with our customers. Tell us where you need to be, and we know, they say it's going to be June and it ends up to be September. We understand they have no control, but tell us your roadmap so we have the adequate manpower, and we feed our subs a lot of work, so we keep them loyal to us, and we feed them so they help us wherever we need them to be.
Mhm. Yeah, I appreciate you explaining that. And then I know you're also getting involved in battery storage. Can you
Yes.
talk about that as well? And what?
Yes, we've done some battery storage just standalone and some, with solar. So we want to be known as a go-to, because they're different for sure, and the commissioning is different than just a standalone solar. So we've partnered with people that understand this early on, that now they're very loyal to us to help us navigate and execute effectively.
Yeah, definitely. And is there are you seeing mostly solar plus storage really behind the meter, or are you seeing from the meter projects? Are you seeing standalone storage, front of the meter?
We're seeing both.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then as far as technology, has most of it really been like a lithium
Just
or, you know?
lithium ion. Most of it's been Tesla that we've been exposed to.
Yeah, definitely that makes sense. Obviously, that's what on these large projects, financiers are comfortable with the
Right.
large manufacturers. So Tesla, definitely that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And yeah, just going back to, I know you mentioned about your exclusive partnership with Axial in the US. Can you talk about what made DC's first US deployment of the Axial twin tracker system in New York significant?
Yeah. Yeah. We were very excited because, bringing new technology into the United States, it takes time. People have to build trust. They don't want to be the first. They want to be able to touch it, feel it, kick the tires, right? But fortunately, it's not a new product. The product's been deployed everywhere in the world except here. So that box you can check, but I can understand the reluctance for people. I don't want to be the first in the US, which I totally understand. So we've had our first installation in the upstate New York. We actually built the system, which is also, we were very thankful from the IPP that we got to build it too. And it went well. So that's our showpiece. Now we can bring clients. We've already had many customers go through there and look at it. And also it was rewarding that they all gave us the thumbs up. They really liked what they saw. They saw the challenges that the system can overcome, the benefits of the system. So, the whole exercise, it was beneficial.
Yeah, that's great to hear, especially like in New York. Are you seeing like basically tracker systems in like colder climates that, clients
Oh,
want their production and they're not
yeah,
concerned about
we're
risk?
seeing them. We're seeing them everywhere. We're in areas that I would not have expected in very heavy snow load environments, which again the tracker can facilitate, which is great. And then the uniqueness of the actual tracker, not that only it can handle different topographies, it has different ways to power it. You could be grid powered, string powered, or with a pony panel, self powered. So that's also a uniqueness of the system.
Yeah, and do you know, and like based on like these colder climates with lower solar irradiance, like what is like the improvement in capacity or if I guess output?
Yeah,
You,
it really
yeah,
changes in different. So you have to model it for each distinct area. So once you model it, you could say, hey, maybe this doesn't make sense. Maybe a fixed tilt is better. And then that's one driver. And then the other driver is when you're looking at a site, is it conducive for a tracker? Because they're less forgiving on rolling terrain. So you might have to give up some kilowatt hours to put a tracker on there versus fixed tilt. So we look at each system differently and to make sure it's optimized and putting the right technology forward. And those are conversations with the IPP in the beginning.
yeah, that's really great that you do that, obviously, in the beginning of the process. And then I know you also specialize in complicated topography. Can you talk about like what are the challenges related to the more challenging than a flat uh
Yeah.
space thing, no trees?
Yes. Yeah. So, we talked about when I started the company in 2009, all the solar fields were flat, right? Everything was flat in the Northeast, everywhere, North Carolina, but all that was sucked up quite quickly. And now we're dealing with, challenging soils, rock, and then you're also dealing with challenging topography. So, what we have done, and always in our designs, because of my past background in in designs and having to put products together, it was make sure that whatever you're designing, you're able to put it together effectively. So you're always looking at, okay, does it have a lot of adjustability? Some systems are very uh, are not forgiving. And if you have rolling hills, they don't follow, they're kind of forcing it to follow the terrain rather than it flowing by design. So we put a lot of slip planes in to make that adjustment because we understand sometimes a pile may not be in the right position, so you're able to adjust the purlins of the structure to fit those rolling terrains. So we've put all of that in our designs to make sure it if they missed on the civil, it can meet that demand and also help the installer expedite the installation.
Interesting. Yeah, I appreciate you explaining that. And obviously, it's interesting because obviously all the easy land opportunities have been developed, and then you have to be creative on the solutions. And I appreciate you explaining that. And obviously, now it's just getting more and more complicated. The topography
It
is
is,
figuring out
yeah.
more creative.
And the cost to move the dirt is getting
Always.
higher, right? So nobody wants to move dirt because that's an expense. Uh, so they're always looking to, it's the cost benefit to see if I shave this much more off, how can I get more on? What's that cost to remove it? Can your system flow with what's there? So we always do an analysis to see uh, does anything have to be removed? If so, we'll just remove the minimal, and then our system will certainly meet that requirement.
Yeah, definitely. And have you also done brownfields and landfills as well?
We do a lot. Yeah, we do a lot of landfills.
Yeah.
We have a ballasted system. It's a precast concrete system that sits on the landfill, and our racking structure, which is the same as it would be on a regular solar farm,
Mhm.
sits on top of the ballast blocks. And you have to design the blocks to make sure the PSF, the allowable PSF of that cap on a landfill, that you're not penetrating that. So the block is designed around those criteria.
Oh, that's interesting. So is that like something that you're doing that's pretty innovative compared to other people, or is this like is it a proprietary thing, or is it
No,
been
I think others, some of them have we all go about it maybe a little differently.
yeah,
But if you're putting something on a landfill, you have to be cognizant of the PSF allowable on the cap, because many of them are caps so the methane doesn't perch out.
sure.
So we design our structure that way, and we prefer a precast ballast. We think it's more predictable because you slide and turn up. So we did a different approach to the solution.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate you explaining that. Obviously, you talked about starting DC 17 years ago, right after it sounds like after the financial crisis. Well, I guess it was 2009, right? In 2008.
Nice. Yeah.
What, and you've been on the solar coaster for a long time. Like what
Yeah.
trend being in the solar and storage industry? I think you like provide a lot of unique perspectives because you've been on the solar coaster for a long time. It'd be great to hear like what trends you're seeing in the industry right now. I know you talked about some of them.
Well, the trends right now is the administration.
Yeah,
That's the challenge for all of us. We never know from one day to the next what's going to happen, but we're not in this alone. Many industries are trying to predict what their cash flows is, and the administration changes course. So that's one thing. None of us have a crystal ball, but we've always monitored our cash position very well. We've never overextended ourselves. We never overhire. I have great people. They wear a lot of hats. We're very efficient. We produce a lot with very little. And that's by design, because I don't want a situation that I may have caused or the government caused that I had to let somebody go. We've never had to let anybody go during COVID or these other times the administration made decisions against solar. We've always managed our cash very well. Came out fine, weathered the storm. I have scars to show it, and but I love I love this marketplace. It's not for the meek, but I enjoyed the ride.
yeah, definitely. That is actually such a great point. Is like regarding your people, right, and being very conservative with your cash and maximizing with a small staff because I'm sure there's so many solar companies that have gone bankrupt during the 17 years
One-
you've been in existence, and you've been
100%.
a lot more cash than you've had,
Yeah,
and a lot more well capitalized.
that's
As
correct.
and That's amazing to hear. I mean, it also requires you to be very creative, right? And then I guess resilient, right?
And
As-
100%. We've been very disciplined, right?
yeah.
Disciplined, not overextend ourselves. We've seen bigger companies like you mentioned just go out because they've overextended themselves. They said they could do things where they really weren't ready positioned. They failed, and they paid dearly for it. We never do that. When we take something on, we're confident we can do it, and we never overpromise and underdeliver. But I also have to go back to my staff. They're great people. They care about our customers. They know the customers pay their check, so they go over and above to make sure the client has had a great customer experience.
Yeah, that is key. And it sounds like you have long-term relationships with your clients, right? And those are the easiest opportunities, right, to grow the business, and probably through referrals and as well, right? Through your existing client base.
Sure. And it's also we benefit not only having the customers, but the employees of those customers. And sometimes they leave there and they go somewhere else, and they bring us with us because they've had such great experience. They trust us. They're loyal to us. They say, "Hey, I'm over here now. I'd like you to you know facilitate what you've done for me in the past."
Yeah, definitely. That is huge, especially with it's interesting how many people change to different companies, right? And then they have a prior relationship with you. It's a lot easier
Yeah.
to, you know, and essentially they're bringing with their new company, right?
Yeah. 100%.
And then, as I mentioned before, the Solar Maverick podcast is about solar and entrepreneurship. Obviously, you've had a successful solar business for 17 years. It's interesting. If there was a study, I wonder what the percentage of solar companies have been around 17 years. I'm sure it's a very small percentage. Like, what advice would you give to someone looking to start a company in clean energy or the solar industry from your experience? And obviously, like, you have an experience starting other businesses in different industries. You talked a little bit too during this podcast, look, of why you love the industry and what you're seeing. But it would be great to get your, how can I say it, extensive background and scars and wounds to show it, and advice. Yeah, because
Yeah. Yeah. Happy to share. Yeah, I'm happy to share that. You know, I think I'm also a big observer of what works and what doesn't work. One book I enjoyed, Good to Great, where they evaluated many companies, what made them go to good to great, and some didn't make it. It starts with the people. I always felt treating the people with respect, letting them let them use their tools to make them happy and also contribute to the company, give them autonomy, care about them personally and professionally. I always felt that would translate into good business where they care about our customers equally. And I think that's where many companies go wrong. They chase the dollars. It's all about the dollars and less about the people. And you know what? The people will leave and they'll be unhappy. Then they go somewhere else, and nobody's successful. I personally am driven not monetarily, but I'm driven by watching others grow. That inspires me, and I know the money comes. So I think just high integrity, be curious as an entrepreneur. Uh, you need to be curious. You need to, well, why are we doing it that way? Is there a better way to do it? Why is that happening over there? And can I provide a solution? So, that's how we talked about the racking started, the services started. It was all being curious and can we do it better and facilitate.
Yeah, that's great advice. Obviously, I've heard so many great things about Good to Great by
Jim Collins.
Jim Collins, and I haven't actually read the book, but I'm Definitely going to read it now. We're obviously going to have in the notes of the podcast. Yeah, I mean, this is obviously like great advice. I mean, I think, when you speak, you have a lot of passion for what you're doing, and people could hear it from your voice. And that's a huge thing with success as well, is like, you're not, I guess, motivated by the money, but offering the best product, right, for your customers.
Yeah. Yeah, and two things I despise is greed and egos, and there's no place in my business that have either.
Yeah, for sure.
It's all about it's. There's no islands. We all care about one another. We care about the other's family. We want them to meet their dreams because we're on this earth for a short period of time, but we have work to do, and we want to make our customers successful. We want to make them money. And in turn, we'll make money.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great point. And ego is something too that to be successful as an entrepreneur, especially like how things are so fast changing, you really can't have an ego, because if you have an ego, it really hurts like the product that you're going to put out there. So
Yeah, it affects the whole culture. You have an ego.
for sure.
You might be successful for a short term, but it'll catch up to you.
Oh yeah, definitely. And this actually goes to another question that I was going to ask you, is like, what have you learned about scaling a solar company without losing the quality or the culture, especially as you get bigger? And then also too, like what your beliefs or ideology related to the company, like how has that been, I guess they're essentially values, right? That you've been
Yeah. Yep.
in the
Well,
company.
like I shared with you early on, there were two criteria. One is, what does that company look like that I would want to work for, and what does that company look like that I would want to buy from? So we stayed true to that. And yes, early on, I used to, when there was just 10 of us and 14 of us, I used to know the kids. I used to know more about them and participate more in their lives. But now there were over 50 people. It becomes harder to do. But what I give everybody, any new employee, the authority, or not even authority, it's kind of a criteria. They need to care about the person next to them or in front of them. And when they have a bad day, they have to pick them up and brush them off and try to make their day better. And they in turn need to do that for you when you fall down. So that is the mindset. And everybody that starts, we give them the torch. Now you're part of it. You have that same responsibility. It cannot all be on me because I'm so removed now from purely the minute by minute workload where I used to be more entrenched. And there was like I said earlier, like maybe just 10 of us. It was easier. So it's hard, but I'm steadfast that I'm not going to let the culture creep, because then it's not the company that I would want to work for.
Yeah, definitely. That is great to hear. And then, and something that you mentioned was obviously the importance of the people that you hire who work within your company. How do you find like great people that fit like the culture that you want? Because, that's
Yeah,
one of the hardest aspects, and then managing people too.
it really is. It really is. I have a great HR director. She does the recruiting. She's very passionate. She's entrenched in the culture. She loves being there, and the interviewers that she, having these conversations with, they feel her energy, and it's all through questioning techniques and to find out, do they have the right heartbeat for DCE. It is different. Everybody has to wear a lot of hats. And some maybe come from a big business and it doesn't fit for them.
Oh, for sure.
They come from a thousand employee company, and that's hot because they had one role. They didn't have to do many roles, and it just doesn't work. And I get it. That's fine. Um, so it's during those interviews that she, weeds these people out, and then we do behavioral assessments to know we know the behavior of that person that we're looking for.
Mhm.
And those assessments are really key for our decision making. We've tried to go around them and we said, no, he's talented, he could do it. And we were always wrong. The assessment was always right. So we weigh heavily on the assessments. And then we're not always right. We've made some mistakes, but it's very minimal.
Yeah, that's really interesting to hear about the assessments and how the assessments really qualify people for the company and the culture. And then obviously working for a smaller company that's entrepreneurial versus 1,000 person company. Not everyone could do different roles. Some people love it. Other people really want to be doing the
Yeah.
same thing every day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Some, some thrive in the entrepreneurial. They love that we're doing, oh, now we're doing installations. This is great. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, we're offering trackers now.
yeah,
This is awesome. Rather than we're just selling rooftop and ground mount racking and we're going to do this for another 20 years.
yeah,
They like the change, but it's mindful change. It's not the flavor of the day. We were very mindful that we're going to do this. These are the reasons why. This is what's going to be the outcome, and these are the people we need around us, and these are the partners we need. So it's very mindful. So the ones that enjoy that entrepreneurial aspect, they thrive in this space.
yeah, for sure. Obviously, like that's a certain quality that you need, right, to be successful at DCA. And have you ever thought about doing like O&M or asset management or other parts of the solar life cycle? Or
I've got enough going on right now.
figured I was just gonna ask it because it's interesting. It
Yeah.
feels like you want to do a lot of different things. So
Yeah, but they're purposeful, right? They're
yeah,
purposeful. I prepare for it, and right now I've got enough going on. I stay in my lane to be the best I can in all those three companies, and then maybe we'll decide. But I I'll talk to you at another time if
yeah,
I decide to go in that space.
yeah, definitely. I wouldn't be surprised, just hearing
You
you
never know. You never know.
for sure. And is there anything we haven't spoken about DC Solar that we should know about the company? I mean, I think you covered a lot of ground in a short period of time.
No, other than we're a high integrity company, and like you said, we've seen a lot of people go away, and we could easily tell you why they didn't succeed. Um, but we're going to be here for a long time. We're always going to do the right thing for our customers. Um, High integrity. We want them to make money. We get it. They got to allow us to make money in return. We're
Yes.
we're disciplined on who we choose as customers, and that's not to be arrogant. That's not arrogance. That's because we only have so much bandwidth, right? You can take on so much and really a lot of people down. We're not doing that, right?
Yeah.
So you could be 1,000 employee company, still do the same thing. You can go too fast and die. So we are very methodical. We want to make our customers happy. That is a promise. Sometimes we don't. I get it. We're not perfect, but I can tell you we're always trying to get to excellence, 100%.
Yeah, definitely. That's a key point too. Having great customers, right? And having too many customers or not the right customers can be very challenging for the business. And that's
100%.
great too. Like that's a great point that I feel like people don't talk about. And then too, like where you make money, right? It's a partnership. Everyone has to make money for it to work, right? And sometimes customers don't see that. And, if they're being extremely difficult or it's not economically worthwhile for you to provide them those services, then it doesn't make sense. Or they're high maintenance, in the wrong way, right?
Right. You're 100%. And that's a point where those customers, they don't do well over long term.
Yeah.
They might have won in that one battle, but they don't win
Oh,
the war.
that's a great point. Yeah.
They don't win the war. They won and they feel like, oh, I got one over on them. And then they tried to go to another racking company and that doesn't last very long.
Oh, it doesn't for sure.
And those are the ones that fail and then they'll resurrect somewhere else as somebody else. And we've seen this. You've seen it.
We've
in
seen her.
in
I've
this
seen it
industry,
done
you've seen people pop up like, "Wait a minute, I thought you were over there, and now you're."
many times.
Yeah. So that's not us. We're always deliberate, and we had those conversations with our customers. You got to let us make money because
Yeah.
we just put copy and paste. Let's go to the next one.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next one. If you got to learn each time a new behavior of a company, you're not, and you think you saved 3 cents, you lost 10 cents
Oh
because you.
yeah. That's so true. And then it becomes scalable, the relationship, right? Like
Yeah,
first deal's always the hardest, but then it's so much easier going forward.
you do what you're good at. I'm going to do what I'm good at.
Yeah.
Let me just keep going with it. You
Yeah.
develop, I'll build. I'll design it, build it. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Rather than think you're going to save some money because well, this guy's 3 cents less. You're not going to scale. You can spend so much time learning his ways, and then you'll find out he's not honest.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the other thing that's happened, right? It's not really a commodity, right? That's the problem with racking, right? The dollar per watt. It's not
Yeah,
just a dollar per watt. This is what you're saying
yeah,
before. It's about the quality of the product that
yeah.
sometimes a lot of people are missing.
I'll save you 3 cents. Can I be 10 weeks late?
Yeah.
Right. Wow, I saved 3 cents.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
It's like it doesn't work.
Oh, it doesn't work. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, that's a great point. And then just like every podcast interview these days, the last question is like, what is the impact of AI going to be in the industry? Has your business, I guess, incorporated AI into your business or?
Yeah, I'm driving this. This is something I'm near and dear about. I've been watching this for a while. I'm driving this into the company. We last year, no, 2 years ago, we started like a automation committee, but now I'm really driving it even harder because now the tools are all there. It's amazing how the tools are advanced. So I'm driving that. As far as AI itself, as far as an industry, that's what's pulling us along. It's not the administration. The administration wants oil and gas, and we're here because of AI. AI and data centers is pulling us because we need the power.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great point. Obviously, there's so much, we've had pretty consistent energy demand over the past 20 years, and now we're seeing obviously exponential growth in energy demand.
The hyperscalers are building facilities like crazy. So
Yeah.
we're short by 60, 70 gigawatts of power. Short. And they're putting natural gas turbines in, and they can't get the turbines fast enough. And turbines are a pollutant, so you could plug solar in quick. So we're a great answer for this problem.
Oh, yeah. Solar is the cheapest form of electricity, the fastest to come online. It's a technology, not a fuel. You don't have to worry about the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah. So why would you fight this? It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Unfortunately, I feel like, the current administration with special interest related to certain types of energy production, that's why they're focused on that and, hurting the solar industry, even though strategically it doesn't make sense for the US, and compared to see what other countries are doing, like China and other places.
China's so advanced that their
Yeah.
energy prices are so low because they've built so much. And now I just read something they're going to invest $200 or $300 billion in AI. So they're and the advantage they have is they have the power.
They have the power. That's the
We're trying to do
limit.
it. We're trying to do it at the same time. We're trying to build AI power plants and start to figure out the energy source. They have the energy source. Now they just have to scale the building.
Oh, yeah.
And they're only about technology wise, they're only about 6 months behind us.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because I feel like China's been able to be a lot more strategic
Right,
on
100%.
their national energy policy. And as you know, like the limitation to AI or compute is energy. And that's the real issue that we're having here in the US. And obviously, complex legislation, permitting, interconnection, federal, state legislation. It's
Right.
amazing how complicated solar is to approve a project compared to other parts of the country, other parts of the world, I mean,
That's correct. Yeah, 100%. So if we really want to be an AI leader, we're already losing the energy race. You better put gas on it. Well, that's a bad word. you you better you better support this so we can escalate.
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree. I hope we could figure this out because this is about like competitive advantage of the United States of America. And it's something that we should really be focused on.
Yeah, this we want to be the leader because this is going to be the space race.
Yeah.
Right now we might be losing already.
Yeah, definitely. Well, hopefully this podcast will get people excited about DC solar and the energy transition in the US, which is just beginning, even though
Oh, yeah.
you've been involved in it for a very long time. And we need a lot of smart people to come and help lead this transformation, really, that needs to
100%.
be done.
Well, we're here. We're here to help.
Yeah, definitely. This has been an amazing interview, Bill. I really appreciate you making the time. If our audience wants to learn more about DC and yourself, what's the best way that they could do that?
They can find me on LinkedIn or look up DCESolar.com.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you, Bill, for making the time. This was
My
such a great
pleasure.
interview. When you decide to do other businesses as well and expand to other things, definitely would love to have you back on the podcast to talk about it.
All right, sounds good.
Never sit tight. It's
Yeah, sounds good. I appreciate the time. This was enjoyable.
anytime. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it, Bill.
All right, thanks.
Thanks.
See ya.
See you.
Bye.